Hello, to those of you new, welcome. My name's Shottle. If you're an old viewer back in the day from the Fortnite mobile days, hello again. It's been a long time. I've graduated college, I've got a job now. Life is different. I'm no longer a screechy Fortnite mobile kid. Unfortunately, I know those were the good old days, but I've been playing a lot of Pokemon Showdown, if you know what that is, and I've been doing a lot of Draft League battles. So I'm coming at you with some very casual, very low-key, raw Pokemon draft battle content, if you can even call it content. Basically just going to be recording my matches, uploading them for fun, nothing serious, not doing this full time. And yeah, so got the Island Battle League here. There's two leagues that I'm doing in the IBL. The first one is the Alola League. It's going to be the current generation OU, so right now we're in Gen 9 OU, and the draft has concluded, and I've got my week 1 matchup this week, which we'll get to in a separate video, but this is just going to be a quick video going over the team that I drafted. I really like this draft. It's something different. It's not something I normally do when I play these draft leagues, so let's get into it. The plan that I went with in this draft, I had pick 15 of 16, so I had pick 15 and then I had pick 17, or pick 18, sorry, but based on the first couple of mons you'll see that were available, I realized Hyper Offense can be a fun way to go. That's kind of the way the Gen 9 meta is, and I figured let's just lean heavily into it. Normally when I do draft leagues, I do the Nat Deck super low tier. I don't normally draft with the OU mons, so I'm a little outside of my comfort zone here. So I figured let's just draft some heavy hitters, let's just click some buttons, and let's nuke some things. And I figured we would do that in Sun, which we'll get to in the team building. So for my first overall pick, at pick 15, I took Croissant the Roaring Moon. Obviously, this thing was banned to Ubers for good reason. 139 attack with 119 speed is crazy. The beauty of running this Mon in Sun is that its photosynthesis ability will activate automatically, so I don't have to hold the booster energy item. I can hold something like a Choice Band, I can do boots, I can do leftovers, whatever I want to do if I plan on having the Sun up. And this was the Mon that looked like the most fun to use. I mean, my philosophy in draft is one, draft Mons that can do multiple things, and I kind of stayed away from that in this draft with going with the Hyper Offense. It's a pretty one-dimensional team. So my second rule of draft is draft Pokemon that you want to use. Don't draft stuff that's only good. If you don't like using the Mon, you're not going to have fun building or battling. And Roaring Moon looks like a fun time. I never got to use him in OU because I didn't play when he was around, and now he's banned, and I don't really play Ubers. So based on what was left, I went with Roaring Moon. Second pick that I took was Iron Moth. Fiery Dance spam in the Sun can clean up late game. It can also break in the mid game. You can use the speed boost and run something like Choice Specs. I obviously have Roaring Moon as a physical attacker, so this was my special attacking breaker. I like the synergy. Iron Moth can hit the fairy types that Roaring Moon doesn't want to deal with, and it should be a lot of fun to use these two Mons. Iron Moth I do use occasionally in OU, so I have a little more experience with this Mon. My third pick was Excadrill. I'm a little conflicted with this pick because obviously as a steel type, I actually don't want Sun to be up because those fire attacks are actually really going to hurt. But this is a pretty versatile Mon. I can obviously use it as a hazard spinner. He was about 15 points, which is a little much for a spinner, but you can also do some things like sub Swords Dance, Iron Head again for those fairies for Roaring Moon. Mold Breaker has a lot of utility, and just an overall fun Mon that I'm comfortable with, so that's kind of why I went with him as my A, my ground type, and B as my spinner. Next up, we have Dorito the Halucha. This is textbook setup Pokemon. I mean, he pretty much does one thing. You can run Mold Breaker, but usually you just run Unburden. You can run a Seed, you can run White Herb, Close Combat. Basically, you're trying to get a Swords Dance up, you're trying to get Close Combat, get a Grassy Seed, and you're trying to lose that item. And then you're just trying to break mid-game or straight up sweep teams from there. Obviously, I don't have any terrain setters on my team, at least that I plan to use, but other teams might have something like Rillaboom. There's some psychic teams out there with Indeedee in this draft, so I can use different seeds there to take advantage of their terrain and use them to my advantage. For my first Terra Captain, I took Houdini the Hoopa. 150 special attack is ridiculous. This thing's natural bulk is ridiculous as well. 80 and 130, obviously it's not physically defensive, but the specially defensive is crazy without investing. The downside is typing is horrible. You're 4 times weak to Dark and Ghost. But it's a Terra Captain. So if something's staring at me with a Shadow Ball, I can Terra out of it. Defensively, I can Terra Dark, I can Terra Fairy, whatever I want to do, and I can resist that and then absolutely nuke things with Scarf or Specs. Hoopa, I don't know if this thing gets any setup moves, but if other teams don't have like a Shadow Ball resist, a Spec Shadow Ball or Scarf Shadow Ball goes absolutely crazy in this draft. So this one's going to be a lot of fun for me to use. This was the only Terra Captain I saw that like caught my eye. And again, rule number 2, draft mons you're going to have fun with, and this is definitely one of them. And the second Terra Captain I went with is this OG Sun user himself, Venusaur. Chlorophyll to double that speed. And obviously you can fire off some solar beams. You can also use something like Growth, and then as a Terra Captain, I can Terra defensively or Terra offensively to kind of get out of sticky situations in bad matchups and break from there. Again, this is not like a great mon. He's just a lot of fun to use, especially if I'm already going with the Sun route. I figured why not. Normally I like to take 2 defensive, 1 offensive, 1 defensive Terra Captain, but I went with 2 offensive. Venusaur, it could be used defensively depending on the matchup as well, so he's a little versatile. Obviously, if we're running a Sun team, we had to get the GOAT Sunsetter right now. Sorry, Ninetales. We got Torkoal. 140 defense is solid. It allows you to get Drought and Sun up multiple times throughout the match. It's not just a one and done deal. You don't have to worry about a 4 times weakness like you do with Pelipper necessarily on Rain. It's just, you can tank Earthquakes, you can even tank Earth Powers, honestly, with your natural Spadef and investment in some HP, and Torkoal's around for the long game. He can also Rapid Spin if need be, and that's pretty much it. This dude's here to maybe set some rocks and get the Sun up for the rest of the team. Now, it's not a hyper offense team if you don't have Sticky Web, so we've got Tinkerbell, the Rabombi. Hyper offensive teams love webs, obviously, and with 124 speed, we are going to be outspeeding and disrupting the match. This thing can set Sunny Day, it can use Stun Spore, Skill Swap, Sticky Webs, all of the above. It can fire off Moonblast if need be. This thing's going to be a lot of fun to use. I haven't used Rabombi in a couple generations, honestly, but I remember having a lot of fun with it back in Gen 7. It's just a solid way to get webs up. You run Sash, you can run Specs if you really want to go offensive with it. And yeah, it's just here to help support the hyper-offensive team. Next up, we've got John Deere, the Rotom Mow. Can't tell you, honestly, don't think I've ever used this mon, straight up, but I've used Rotom Heat in Draft, I've used Rotom Wash, I've even used Rotom Frost before. So I figured, I saw this thing on the board, I wanted an electric type for some coverage, I also wanted a grass type. This was before I drafted Venusaur, and so I said, you know what? Rotom Mow fits the bill, perfecto. And I really don't have much to say. I don't really know how I plan to use this thing. Maybe fire off some Leaf Storms and some discharges, some Thunder Waves, Trick, Pain Split, all that fun stuff. And yeah, I don't know how often I'll be using this thing, but I am a fan of the design. I think it's a fun. Obviously, we love Rotom, so that leads us into our last pick here, which is Blissey. This was a bit of a panic pick. I actually picked this mon up in Grace Period with a transaction. I had 6 points left over, and I figured, okay, this full team is hyper offensive. Like I need something, right? Like I can't just have only offensive mons. I got to be able to tank hits during some of these matchups. So obviously I can't take physical hits, but special defense, Wall, Blissey will be able to do a lot of work. This thing can spread Thunder Waves, it can get rocks up, and the only problem is I might have trouble fitting it onto teams where I want to just put someone else who can deal a bunch of damage, but there will definitely be some matchups where I think Blissey will do well against things like Dragapult. It'll be able to wall, and Spectrier as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this team. Week 1 matchup will be happening soon, so I will release that later this week, but for now, I just wanted to get the team introduced, get people excited for the season. I know I'm excited for the season. I love draft. So anytime you finish a draft and week 1's coming up, it's an exciting feeling in the air. You get to use a bunch of new mons, do some new team building and new team compositions and stuff. So hopefully you guys are looking forward to it. I know I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see you in the first week.